Hello all YouTubers, I'm the Weather Dude. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning back into this weather presentation for June 11th, 2020. Before I get on with today's video, however, I would ask that you please do subscribe because sadly, tons of my watch time has been coming from unsubscribed viewers. We are on our way to our next goal of 600 subscribers, and thank you guys so much, by the way, for 500 subscribers. Let's get to our next goal of 600 subscribers, alright? So please do subscribe, and also, this applies to every single one of you. Please watch the whole video as well as liking and sharing the video. Thank you. Now let's get on with today's video. So today we're going to be talking about a potential a big heat wave that could be sweeping across the central and eastern United States over the mid to long term. So we're going to be analyzing that heat wave in today's video. Now, looking at the Climate Prediction Center 6 to 10 day temperature probability outlooks, and you can see that from June 17th to June 21st, you see that much of the central United States, including the south central, up to the north central, and then even up to the northeast as well, we do have anywhere from 33 or 40%, all the way up to a 70% chance for above average temperatures in the period of the 17th to the 21st. If you look at the 19th to the 25th, however, you can see how it is much more widespread. It's basically the entire United States, all except for the north central by that point. So that's from the 19th to the 25th, 8 to 14 day outlook, and you can see that it's pretty much by this point it's focused on the east and on the west by that point. But we're going to be talking about the heat wave that will be sweeping across the central and the eastern United States. Now, this is starting at Monday afternoon. You can see it's actually pretty cold. As a matter of fact, we're almost 30 degrees below average in central Virginia here, but things are going to start to change. And you can see that. Look towards the north central. This is about Tuesday, June 16th, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There is your region right there where we're anywhere from 10 to 13 degrees above average in some spots. And that area will continue to expand. Now, as a matter of fact, this is by 8 o'clock on Tuesday, and some areas are near 20 degrees above average. Anywhere from central South Dakota down through Nebraska here, all right? But it won't just be the central United States, all right? Trust me, it will be spreading. Now, if we look at Fridays, is 2 a.m., the heat is starting to move. Now, remember, a heat wave is defined as 90 degrees plus for 3 days straight, all right? And sometimes, no, I'm not saying that during the night into the next day. There has to be 3 consecutive afternoons, which is usually the hottest time of the day, 3 consecutive afternoons that have 90 degrees temperature or higher. And you can see that we do have some areas of, 5 to 10 degrees above average, which, keep in mind, guys, it is June now. Especially as we head towards July, don't expect to see some 20 degrees above average and we have a heat wave. No. All right, it doesn't take too much, of a temperature anomaly to create a heat wave because it's June. So even 10 degrees above average could mean 90 degrees. All right, depending on what your average temperature is. But here we go. The heat continues. Here is 2 a.m. on Saturday on June 20th, and some areas up in the north central and the Midwest are already 10 to 13 degrees above average again. The heat is going to be sticking around, and take a look at the East Coast here. All right, some areas are above 20 degrees, more than 20 degrees above average on the eastern seaboard. All right, from the coast of Maine all the way down through, I'd say Delaware and New Jersey is where the deepest reds of shade stop. All right, once you get towards Virginia, maybe it's a few degrees above average. And this is the GFS model. We'll be looking at Canadian and European models as well. But that is June 20th at 2 p.m. Now, remember, guys, this is mid to long term, so we could have some minor tweaks. But this is the temperature forecast here. And if you look at Sunday at 2 p.m., this is the 21st, this is the next day, you can see how much of the central USD, southeast United States, even up towards Maine. All right, some areas are going to be sitting from, 5 in some spots, even up to 15, even 20 degrees above average, which is pretty significant for the month of June. All right, because remember, again, it doesn't take much because it's June. It doesn't take much. Like, here it is, 96 hours out. This is 2 p.m. on Monday. If you recall, all right, if you remember, we actually had some below average temperatures for parts of Texas, right? We're actually a couple degrees below average, and it's still 90 degrees. So it does not take much of a temperature anomaly to spark a major heat wave. All right, and it's already starting here. Look at this. We're almost 100 degrees by 8 p.m. on Tuesday, right there in south central, or the Nebraska and the Nebraska and Kansas border there. And you can just see it's going to get a lot worse, guys. 101 degrees in northern Kansas by 8 p.m. on Thursday. And as we continue on, the heat wave is going to start to suppress a little bit farther to the south. So now we're talking about areas like northern Louisiana, they could hit 100 or at least 99. Western Kansas is going to hit 100 degrees. All right, northwestern Louisiana, right around the Arklatex, 102 degrees by 2 p.m. on Friday. Even south central Arkansas is getting near 100 as well. If we continue on, look at this. The heat just does not stop, and it moves up to the northeast eventually too. All right, we could be at 93 in parts of Jersey. All right, by Saturday afternoon on June 20th. Like I said, this is over the week, late weekend. It starts to move into the northeast. Now, keep in mind, I'm not talking about tomorrow and the next day, Friday and Saturday. I'm talking about the week after that, but still, very major heat here. I mean, even in the morning time, look how much of the country. This is 8 o'clock in the morning, which obviously there are 6 hour intervals. Obviously, it's pretty much, I would say 6 o'clock is the coldest time of the day. But since it's 6 hour intervals, according to this, 8 o'clock is the coldest time of the day. And you can see much of the northeast, the north central, down through the southeast. We're in the mid to upper 70s, and that's at nighttime. So that just tells you that we're going to have a bad day here. And 103 near the Arklatex by Monday afternoon. So you can see the heat is relentless, and 80-degree heat will at least spread up through northern Maine by that point, which Maine could see some warmer temperatures before that. I think Monday we might start to wind down a little bit for parts of New England. But if we look at the relative humidity, that's going to be another thing too, guys. The humidity is going to be very high. All right, if you look at the relative humidities, here is Friday, 2 a.m. The eastern seaboard here, definitely near 100% relative humidity. Hot and humid, and we know hot and humid just do not have a good I mean, they're a good combination for evil, but not a good combination for us, obviously. If you look at Sunday, here we go. Monday, it's at 2 a.m. Much of the northeast, down to the mid-Atlantic, up to the north central, it is pretty humid. All right, and now let's take a look at our heat index values. Because remember, the actual temperatures I showed you guys were above 100. Now let's take a look at those heat index values. What is it really going to feel like outside there when you combine the heat and humidity, and even a touch of south wind? All right, so let's look here, and here's one example. Here's Wednesday at 2 p.m. We're 102 in northern Louisiana, and the brunt of the heat, I don't believe has gotten started yet. Here you go, 104 degrees in northern Louisiana is what it's going to feel like by 2 p.m. on Thursday. Now, I think the humidity could be a lot worse, but it's still going to be very, very muggy outside. And take a look at this. 105-degree heat index values. All right, and northern Louisiana, south central Arkansas. This is by Friday, 2 p.m. This is a big heat wave we're going to be dealing with here. In the same areas, too, Louisiana and Arkansas could see 100-degree heat index values for days straight. All right, so this is going to be a very hot, muggy atmosphere. You can just say, look, we're still at 105. Look, we're at 108 by this point, actually. 108 right there in southern Arkansas. That is next Monday at 2 p.m. So this heat, once it gets there, guys, at least for the long term, it's just not ever going to leave. Even Minneapolis, the heat index values are going to be near 100 degrees. That's just insane. Now we're going to move on to the Canadian model now. And again, this is about 5 days out, and you can already see we're talking about over 15 degrees above average. Now, if we had this kind of stuff in the springtime, yes, it will get pretty hot. But if you see these kind of temperature anomalies in the summertime, that means some serious, serious heat. All right, and even Canada. Look at Canada, guys. Canada is 36 degrees, up past 35 degrees above average. All right, that is very significant. If we have that kind of stuff for the United States, all right, we'd all be boiling right now in a pot. Obviously, because of the humidity as well. But Nebraska, according to the Canadian model, central Nebraska, by 2 a.m. Wednesday, could be over 20 degrees above average. And keep in mind, this does only go out to 10 days, but take a look at this. We could be 25 degrees plus above average for southwestern Minnesota here. This is very serious heat, and I know that we're all staying inside most likely. I know we're starting to go out a little bit more, but with the heat exhaustion, it's best. This is just another reason to stay inside, especially for the elderly people and the young children, because they could suffer from heat exhaustion more easily, guys. I'm being dead serious. We could be talking about heat, like feels like temperatures, like the air. Even the air could be pretty hot. The air could be near 100 degrees or even above 95 for much of the central and eastern United States at some point. But the heat index values, when you combine maybe a touch of south wind and you get the humidity up there, and with the sun out, I mean, we could be talking about heat index values that could be passing 105 degrees at some point. All right, so probably some widespread heat advisories, excessive heat warnings going to be spreading across the United States from the central and the southeast to the mid-Atlantic at some point here. But even Indianapolis, 22 degrees above average here is same thing for eastern Nebraska. All right, this is by Friday, or actually Thursday night, the 18th. Now, look at the actual temperatures here. All right, it doesn't look very serious at first. I mean, we're talking about mid-90s, which is still very serious. However, as we head forward in time, you're going to start to see these 100-degree temperatures. And this is the actual temperature. Keep in mind, this isn't what it's going to feel like due to the humidity. I'm talking about the actual temperatures. Could get past 100 degrees here, right there in Oklahoma, 99 degrees. So some very serious heat we're going to be contending with here for potentially several days. And I'm talking several days, even possibly over past a week or 2 weeks. I mean, it could even last that long. Now, when we take a look at the relative humidity values, how humid is it really going to be out there? I don't think it's going to be that high. I mean, we're still going to see some greens on the map. Right? Actually, would be better for this if we actually took a look at the dew point, because that'll really be able to tell where our humidity is. And look. I mean, this is right now, but look at the Gulf of Mexico, 82 degree dew points over the Gulf of Mexico. That is pretty significant. But that's the Gulf of Mexico. All right, but if you check out the dew points. Won't be very serious. I mean, we're talking about 60s in that little area of teal there. Obviously, dark green doesn't mean humid. Dark green actually represents dew points in the 50s, which is actually pretty comfortable. Once you get into that teal color there, like you see on the I-95, 60s, anywhere from 60 to 69 degree dew point, or actually 60 to 65, I should say, on the dew point scale is when we start to get humid. 65 to 70, it starts to get a little worse, and then once you get to 70, above 70, that's just absolutely oppressive, and 80 is just unbearable. Like, I'm not saying you can't survive in it when the dew point is 80 degrees plus, but it feels very, very bad, and no one wants to be outside during that. But take a look at this. When the heat is across the central United States, I mean, dew points could be 60 to 65 degrees. We've certainly seen worse, but the dew point values could be getting up there. I mean, this is next Friday now. This is Friday, actually, 2 a.m. All right, so, and once the heat starts to build in the southeast, take a look at this. Dew points could be getting near 70, where we see that lavender color, otherwise upper 60s. But again, the GEM model doesn't go out quite as far as the GFS does. Only goes out 10 days as opposed to 16 for the GFS. All right, that's just what the model does. But still, widespread 70 degree plus dew points here. All right, as we head through the weekend, that's when it's going to start getting worse for the southeast and the mid-Atlantic. Now we're going to move on to the European model now as our last model, and you can already see. I mean, obviously I've skipped to 5 days out here. Here's 5 days out. Again, we're already north central. We are 10 to 15 degrees above average. So if your average temperature up in the northern tier is 75, we could be talking about temperatures that could be closing in on 90. All right, and it can even be locally higher than that, obviously, as the anomalies start to grow. Check it out. Just west of Minneapolis here, 25 degrees above average. And look at this, guys. We're talking about in northern Minnesota, according to the European model, on 2 a.m. Wednesday, which I think overnight Tuesday into Wednesday is when we can see our temperature is farthest above average. We're talking about 30 degrees above average for parts of northern Minnesota there. So it's very extreme heat we're talking about. Now, the good news is, at least for the north central, by mid to late week, we could start to drop a little bit of closer to normal here. Probably more Thursday night, maybe even in through Friday, we could drop, like maybe a couple of degrees below average or a couple of degrees above average. But for the east here, late week into the weekend, it is just getting started for you. All right, we're talking about 5, 10, even above 15 degrees above average, which, again, the average temperatures in the east this time of year, at least for the mid-Atlantic and the southeast, your average temperature is already in the mid-80s, so it doesn't help that we're going to be so far above average. Obviously, the average temperature does depend on where you live exactly, but here it is. Look at this. This is Wednesday night at 8 p.m., and the actual temperature is going to be over 100 degrees for northern Kansas, the actual temperature. That's not factoring the touch of south wind that we could possibly have. That's not factoring in the humidity. Even just southeast of Atlanta here, 100 degrees. We're talking about here 2 p.m. on Friday the 19th. Let's go to the heat index values and see just how hot it will really feel outside for the human skin. Obviously, we have the air temperature is one thing, but the heat index / wind chill, depending on the season, obviously, will make a big difference. But this is wind chill / heat index. So this is basically what you call feels like, quote unquote. Just basically, you might feel cooler, might feel warmer, depending on the conditions. but the heat index values could get very serious here. Look at Eastern Georgia, 97, and obviously the heat has not even started yet here. Look at this, the eastern seaboard, even down to the coastline, our heat index values could be over 100, 103 degrees, and once you're in it, it'll be lasting for a little while. So once you get in the heat here, guys, you're gonna want to start to get used to it, because if your body just doesn't get used to it, it's gonna be suffering. Your body will be suffering for a long time because of this, just the heat and the humidity that we're gonna be suffering in. Here's the central and eastern United States here. We're talking about relative humidity value still above 70%, so I'd say that's nothing to laugh at by any means. And it looks like there could be either just a big batch of moisture or even like a slow-moving storm system moving up the East Coast. So that could contribute some high humidity values and even some high dew points, which is pretty much the same thing. So there it is. All right, the Gulf Coast will be 90% humidity values by Saturday morning. So to sum it all up here for today, it's going to be hot, it's going to be humid, and depending if we have a little, the only way you're going to get cool off a little bit is if you go in the shade. Definitely want to drink some water. All right, Gatorade, but definitely want to stick to water. Water is your main source to keeping your body hydrated. Obviously, you want to stick with water. But it's okay to have the occasional sports drink, but definitely want to stick with water. But just get in the shade, stay in the house, put the air conditioning on. But other than that, if you want to go out for those walks, don't wait till the evening, because I found that it's usually hotter if you wait closer to sundown than it is if you wake up. So definitely, if you want to go for that jog, you want to go for that walk with the dog, definitely want to do it in the early morning as opposed to the late night. Because the late night is still going to feel, like 80 degrees. At least in the morning, it'll be closer to, 70, 75. It'll be a little bit better. So thank you for watching today's video, guys. I am the Weather Dude, signing off. Till next time. Catch you guys next video.